JMS for Java Message Service allows you to send messages to a message queue in an asynchronous fashion. That's a core part of Java EE. Here, they basically provide helper classes to allow you to make use of the Java Message Service. And again, you can reduce your code by over 50% by making use of Spring's JMS integration. And then also, Spring has support for a transaction manager or supporting transactions. And you can do this in a very lightweight fashion. So you can make use of transactions on methods, on database calls, and pretty much anything you want. It's very flexible. And a lot of other projects in the world or on the web make use of the Spring Transaction Manager. This is basically the home for the Spring MVC framework. All right, so you can build web applications using the Spring core and also making use of Spring controllers and Spring views. So you have the full MVC layout here, and we'll cover this a good deal later on in the course. They also have other modules here where you can actually interface with other web technologies like maybe JSF or struts. You can do that, but pretty much, if you're using Spring already, then it makes sense to just go ahead and use Spring MVC. No need to pull in any other APIs, but you can do that if you want. They also have support for remoting here, so you can actually make use of web remoting, where you can have external clients make calls into the Spring container. Think of it as like a way of doing like remote procedure calls or RPC, or also doing distributed computing. So that's available also in this web module. Then moving down here, there's this other item here, instrumentation. So basically, Spring has a lot of sophisticated, fancy technology behind the scenes. And so here, you can actually make use of class loader implementations to work with different app servers. For example, it can be used to create a Java agent so you can remotely monitor and instrument your application using JMX. As a developer, you wouldn't normally build an agent yourself. You would simply use the agents provided by the Spring team or your app server vendor. But the nice thing about it is to know that behind the scenes, it's making use of some really cool technology such as AOP, code weaving, bytecode manipulation, and so on. So that's what you get in the instrumentation model. Spring has support for test-driven development. So the framework includes mock objects for mocking out servlets, JNDI access, and so on. And you can do all of this outside of the container. You can also make use of integration tests by creating an application context and wiring up your desired object. So testing is a first-class citizen here when making use of the Spring framework. So there's a lot of good support for it. So that's basically it. So that's a high-level discussion here of the Spring framework. In some of the following videos, we're going to move forward and we're going to focus on work with the Spring core container. We'll also make use of the Spring web for doing Spring MVC. And then we'll also make use of Spring data access and integration. So those are the key items that we'll take a look at in this course.